I'm Lydia.
I'm Ed.
We're friends with a playlist for everything. And it turns out we both have one called Survival Songs.
And it got us thinking, what are other people's survival songs?
So we thought we'd find out.
Welcome to Survival Songs,
A podcast where each episode our guest tells us about a song that gets them through the best and worst of times.
sensitive topics might be discussed.
So look after yourself.
The show contains portions of copyrighted material.
We'd love for you to support and celebrate the artists by streaming, downloading and buying their brilliant music. And go give our guests a follow on social media.
Help us grow the community of survival song listeners by joining us over on Substack and add to our public playlist on Spotify. Links are in the show notes.
We hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, I'm Ed. Welcome to Survival Songs. This week's guest is Lindsey Chapman. Lindsey is a TV and radio presenter, fronting shows for the BBC, Channel 4 and Channel 5. Lindsey works across climate change, culture and sport, and also writes and presents programmes for BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio 4. She's a self-confessed netball fanatic, and she is the International Netball Commentator for Sky Sports and the BBC. She's also the presenter of Courtside, the official England netball podcast. We'll be chatting to Lindsey in a moment, but first we're going to hear a part of her survival song. This is Love Over Gold by Dire Straits.
It takes love over gold and mind over matter to do what you do that you must. When the things that you hold can fall and be shattered or run through your fingers like
So that was Love Over Gold by Dire Straits, and that was the survival song of our guest today, Lindsey Chapman. Hi, Lindsey.
Hello. Hi, Ed. It's
Hello.
lovely to see you,
You
hear
too.
you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
That's my pleasure.
I'm going to ask the question that I always ask at the beginning, which is, when did this song first arrive in your life, and what was your reaction to it?
So this song first arrived in my life when I was about 20, and I trained as an actor originally, and I was in we put on a production of Anne Frank, and I played Anne in Anne Frank. And one of the ways of getting into character that we'd been told to think about was having a song. And I became very attached to Anne Frank during that time. She is the most amazing girl, and her writing was way beyond its years, and the way that she wrote about the human existence and her humility and her love despite everything that she was going through was something else. And I got really attached. I read the diary many times. I did loads of research, and I needed a song, and I just couldn't find the right song to listen to before the production to get into it. And then my dad said, have you listened to Love Over Gold by Dire Straits? And I said no, but I'll give it a go. And I played it and immediately just knew that was the song for Anne and for my connection and getting into that character, which might sound all lovey-dovey, but it wasn't. It was a very sort of, it was just a really connected moment where before going out on stage, I played that and I just thought, this girl understood what love over gold means. And you know, the fact that she says that in the play something like, despite everything, I still believe humans are truly good at heart. And I was thinking, goodness me, you're 14 years old, how can you write a sentence like that? And this song for me sort of says that, and it connects to the reason that I do what I do, the reason that I was an actor and am now a presenter, because it's about connection and human connection. And I feel that play and that song gives me that.
What does survival mean to you? Kind of, because I was talking about this to someone the other day, and they was like, "Oh, there's lots of different types of survival," and I was like, "That's really good point." And so I'm interested to know what I suppose when I asked you the question, what is your survival song? How did you interpret survival?
So when I thought about this, and I really did think about it, because there are quite a lot of songs that I go to, and they're quite emotive and they have amazing lyrics. I'm all about lyrics. That's where I start. I love poetry. You know, there are quite a lot of artists that I could name that I love listening to, that I go to in different times when I maybe need solace, or sort of looking to find a way through. And they are all elements of survival. But for me, I picked this song because this song always takes me back to who I am and the reason that I do what I do and the reason that I love life. And I think it's quite an upbeat song, and a number of my other survival songs are maybe more mellow, but this is about walking out on the high wire, and it's got a line in it that says, you throw your love to all the strangers and caution to the wind. And that's what I try and do. I'm a presenter because I want to connect with people and I want to tell people stories. It's not really about me. It's about what I can get from other people and having that sort of real relationship with life and sort of engaging in that way. And it says you go dancing through doorways just to see what you will find.
You go dancing through doorways just to see what you will find.
And that's what I want to do. I want to go through those doorways and see what life has. And always sort of the money, it doesn't really matter. It's about the love, it's about that sort of joy of being. And that's why it's survival for me, because it's sort of the core of who I am and what I believe in. And so if I'm ever thinking, this presenting lark's mad and, and it's hard at the moment and the calls aren't coming, then I play Love Over Gold and I think, but you couldn't be doing anything else. This is who you are and this is why you do this. So that's why it's my survival song. And I'm quite pleased really, because when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it is quite upbeat actually, and it is quite engaging. It's very 80s as well.
Yeah, it's
I love the 80s.
Yeah, it's got. It's very 80s because it's got that whole. I'm going to be boring now. It's got a whole lexicon reverb sound on it. It reminded me a lot of Springsteen as well. There was a lot of it's sort of got that sort of same sort of. It's that cinematic view of life, isn't it? That it's got, which I don't know. I always think it's kind of because of that widescreen view. It allows you to sort of see everything, right? A song, sort of that kind of song allows you to look at things in a much more sort of like remove things. And those little songs are also beautiful. Those tiny details can be just incredible. But to write something that's widescreen but still feel personal is a real skill, I think.
Absolutely. And I think it is an epic song. Like I say, I feel like it sort of encapsulates my life. And when I'm maybe struggling with the next decision, or if things aren't plain sailing at that particular time, I sort of listen to it and go, but there's a much bigger picture here. And it's within that song. And that can propel you to the next thing and sort of go, life is big and it's wide and there's opportunity, and maybe push another door and dance through that doorway and just see what happens. And it'll be okay. Yeah.
Ultimately, those survival songs are like, they're either the ones that, I see Lydia was saying, she loves those songs that are sort of halfway between the two. But and I think that's things that a survival song can either just almost like reinvigorate like how you feel, or it can change how you feel. Does that make sense? And so, although sometimes by reinvigorating how you feel can kind of alter your mood state, right?
Oh, definitely. And isn't music wonderful for that? You can hear certain songs and it can transport you back to a certain time in your life. You can hear certain songs that you might be going through something at that time and something really connects with you, and it can change how you feel about things, which is just, I think theatre's amazing for that. Storytelling, music, lyrics, just has real power and is so valuable in the world as well. But it is an upbeat song, and it reminds me, like I say, of who I am and what I want to do. And I mean that beyond my career as well. I mean, who I am as a person. It's a very positive song and it has values in it. But I've cried to this song as well. I've had times when I've been really down and I've just sort of thought, this song speaks to me in a way that other songs maybe don't, and it seems to be able to be applied to almost all the times I've needed it. And sometimes I haven't known I've needed it as well, and then I play it and I'm like, yes, I needed you.
yeah, you're the one I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Is there like, I know you've mentioned some lines in there, but is there like a moment, the bit when you're like, this is it, this is there's always a bit in a song, I think, where you're like, that's just my bit. Yeah. That's for me.
I think it is, you throw your love to all the strangers and caution to the wind.
You've thrown your love to all the strangers and caution to the wind.
because the idea that risk is good and it's bold and it brings new opportunity. Caution to the wind is about nature as well, and that sort of, I listen to this song outside quite a lot, actually. So I like listening to music in different places, and I work outside a lot of the time. And I think, one, I like listening to the outdoors, so I'll have no music on, but then I do walk with music as well. And the idea that, you've got something to bring to this world, and it's valuable, and maybe by putting it out into the world you can make things better. That's always the aim. And throwing your love to the strangers is about connecting with people, which is my whole existence, really. It's why I've picked the career I've picked. It's why I'm in the friend group that I'm in. It's about the fundamental link, human to human.
Wow. Blimey. Oh man. Yeah. Good. Yes.
I know, it's mad.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that is music, right? That's
yeah.
And I think that's creativity and the arts, and just generally sort of there is a fundamental connection between us all. And I think we get caught up in, our politics and our identity politics and our socio-economic politics, but actually sometimes fundamentally there are so many more deeper things that connect people, right? That actually, you could go to a concert and actually be full of people that maybe, if you were on Twitter or something like that, you'd be arguing with, because you don't agree with whatever they think, but you are united at that point about that thing.
Oh, definitely. And it kind of crosses borders and languages and cultures, and is sort of full of opportunity, really. And yeah, I know that does sound really deep, doesn't it? It does sound really deep, but
it's true. Yeah,
a Straits song from the 80s could do that. But yeah, that's what it can do. I think
it's weird. I always associate Dire Straits with Hull, which is where just about around where you're from.
Yeah,
and the reason why is because it's not. They're obviously not
from the northeast.
They're from the northeast.
Yeah,
but Dire Straits always reminds me of John Lazenby, who is my best friend's dad. And he used to drive us everywhere, obviously, as dads did, in his Mondeo. And he would play Dire Straits. And he's from Hull. And so, I don't know why there's that.
That's funny, isn't it?
It's weird.
That's really funny.
Yeah, funny, isn't it?
And when I thought back and I thought, why do I know this song? I'd forgotten actually that it was my dad that said, give Dire Straits a listen. And I thought, oh, that's a really lovely connection. And I know you've said in another podcast that we often have connections with songs to people, and the fact that it did help me in that time when I was sort of a young actor and learning to experience different emotions and how to put those emotions out on stage. That's what acting is. It's about telling a story and connecting. You become an actor because you want to work with an audience. There is nothing like live performance and that connection. And when I looked at Anne, that's what she was doing. Her writing was about, she didn't know the diary was going to be found, and then, hundreds of thousands of people would read it. But it was always about expressing and making a record of the ways that she was feeling and sort of going beyond herself, I think. So those two things really matched up for me, and I was like, cheers, Dad.
Yeah,
good one.
Lindsey, thank you so much for joining us. What are you up to at the moment?
So I have a bit of an eclectic career, as you know, Ed.
Yes.
So I'm a TV and radio presenter, and I work across climate and culture and sport. So I train as an actor, I do the art stuff. I do quite a lot of wildlife stuff as well. So I've just been doing a number of sort of keynote speeches about climate change and how we connect with that and sort of how we make it important to different individuals, because once you care about something, then that's when you actually want to change your habits. So it's about sort of looking at what people really care about in the world and how we link that up with changing habits, which is coming with climate change. And then I am an international netball commentator as well. So all my stuff is live stuff, and it's about people, basically. And so where I am next is covering the Netball Super League for the BBC, which is the elite game in the UK. And I present and host that. So you can get me on a BBC iPlayer. Come and watch some fantastic female-led sport. It is insane. And also you can see how tiny I am compared to the netball players. And the shot is silly. The shot is like basically got my forehead in order to be able to get them into the shot. And I'm there like a little hobbit.
Reaching up with a mic.
And they're amazing women. So yeah, that's where I am next.
And you have a podcast as well?
I do have a podcast, yeah. So I have the England Netball official podcast, so you can go and have a listen to that, which is brilliant and sort of looks at the sport, but also wider female issues. So we made a really brilliant pod, brilliant because of the guests. Obviously, I was there as well, but they were great, about how the changes that women go through, how that's related to sport, because there isn't a lot of research around that. There's a lot around men, but there's not a lot about the changing female body. So we looked at when you're a teenager and you have your periods, and then we looked at having a baby. So I've just had a baby as well, and sort of how that's related to sport and how you can come back to sport from that. And then the menopause as well, which nobody knows about.
Yes.
I was there going, oh my goodness me, this is all coming to me and I have never been taught about it. So yes, that was a really insightful episode, I think. So it's a bit different.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your survival song with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, it really has. So great to be here. Thank you for having me, Ed. And go and listen to some 80s tunes, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers,
it's lovely
bye-bye.
to chat. Bye.
We really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to support the podcast further, you can choose to upgrade your subscription on Substack. But most of all, we'd just love it if you told your friends about what we're up to. Thanks for listening.